Salve rapaziada, eu sou Augusto Oliveira, esse é o Lado Negro da Força, somos heróis de rosto africano, certo? É, Gravamos mais um Lado Negro internacional aí, gravamos com meu chapa, cineasta, super foda, nigeriano, o Abba T Makama. E a gente falou sobre várias coisas e cinema. Foi legal que a gente gravou no sábado, domingo teve a cerimônia do Oscar aí. É, Sei que não é muito relevante para algumas pessoas e tal, mas é uma cerimônia onde dá pra gente entender mais ou menos o que tá acontecendo no cinema. E o louco de ter conversado com o Abba foi que a gente teve uma perspectiva totalmente diferente, né? Falar sobre outros cenários, a gente tá tão acostumado a falar sobre cinema norte-americano que a gente acaba esquecendo que no continente também tem cinema bom e tal. E eu só vim dar um salvinho antes de começar porque a gente gravou pro Skype. Infelizmente eu não estava em Lagos, lá na Nigéria, e o Aba não estava aqui em São Paulo, aqui no Brasa. Mas esperamos poder trazer ele em breve, que ele consiga vir até aqui e tal. Eu vou deixar os links, né, na postagem aí para que vocês consigam assistir os filmes que ele produziu, ou pelo menos ver os trailers das coisas que ele já produziu. Ele tem um filme na Netflix e eu acho isso extremamente chique. Tem um amigo que tem um filme na Netflix, é muito legal. E é isso. Acho que semana que vem vamos falar sobre filmes que a gente curtiu aí em 2019. Se tudo der certo, nada der errado. É isso, fiquem aí com o podcast. Desculpa o áudio ruim, porque a gente gravou direto de uma ferramenta do chat que a gente usou aí para fazer essa audioconferência. E fiquem com o nosso podcast. Procurem a gente aí nas redes sociais. Sigam o Aba, é importante, essas métricas são importantes para ele como filmmaker. É, Acho que é isso. Apoiem cineastas negros. Né? Tem o filme aí da Vanessa, que já esteve aqui com a gente. Tem o filme agora do Abba. E vamos tentar conversar com esse pessoal que está criando, está desenvolvendo, está produzindo algumas coisas, né? Eu acho extremamente importante. Se tiver alguma pauta, quiser trazer alguma coisa pra gente também, Super, Hiper, Mega Master Blaster Plus Advanced, bem-vindo, certo? Solta a vinheta aí, o do futuro.
Salve rapaziê, esse é o Lado Negro da Força, sou Augusto Oliveira e temos aí um outro Lado Negro internacional, dessa vez aí um convidado super especial, um cineasta, uma pessoa que está realizando muitas coisas. É bem louco que a gente está falando de cinema agora, bem perto do Oscar, e a gente não acaba não olhando para outros países e outros lugares onde o cinema acontece, assim, onde a indústria de cinema ela é bem viva, bem sadia, né? Sei lá, às vezes com algumas outras, criando outras possibilidades, né? A gente que é acostumado a sempre consumir cinema norte-americano, é, acaba recebendo essa informação de que só existe isso, e a gente chama até os nossos filmes de filme estrangeiro, tá ligado? Então, vai ser uma ideia em inglês, porque a pessoa não fala português, a pessoa é da Nigéria, um dos países do continente aí, e vai ser legal, mano. Espero que vocês gostem, e vou fazer aquelas perguntinhas e tal. A partir de agora, a gente vai começar a falar inglês. Preparem-se. So, okay, I'm ready. So we here at Lado Negro, we have a tradition that we let our guests introduce themselves in order to they I don't know, you saw Black Panther, right? Because uh, uh, the thing that the common took my attention on the movie is that all the characters, they introduce themselves like nobody said who they were. The people, it's kind of that thing that it was taken from us, like the right to say who you were and introduce yourself and put yourself like in a position that you can show who you are to the world. I don't know if it makes sense for you. Like uh, here in Brazil, like we are 54% of the population, like black people.
Yeah.
But there's stereotypes that arrive
54?
like 54. We're
Wait,
54.
54?
Yeah, it's like the blackest country in the world outside
That's
Africa.
huge. Is that the majority?
Yeah, that's a huge
Crazy.
population. We're like 200 million people, and we're 54%. But due to slavery and colonialism, we're not politically strong politically, and we don't have
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
we're not as strong as we should be. But let's go through the questions. Like, what's the most underrated thing for you? Underrated. Excuse me. That's the second question. What's the most overrated thing? Like, of everything, like
What's the
movies and
most?
food. Overrated. Yeah.
Okay. Well, first of all, let me introduce myself.
Yeah. Oh shit. I'm sorry.
My name is Abba T Makama. I'm from Nigeria. I reside in the city of Lagos, but I'm originally from the middle belt of the country called Plateau State. Plateau is literally a plateau, so it's kind of like the whole geographical region is kind of elevated. It's a plateau, which means it's elevated and flat on the surface, which makes it predominantly colder than most regions in the country. Actually, my hometown just can get as low as 3 degrees or even maybe -1, which for an African place, a place in the tropics, it's quite unusual. So if you go to Jos right now, you probably see people in winter jackets, in puffy jackets and overcoats and trench coats, looking as if it was winter in anywhere in the Western world. So that's where I grew up. I'm a filmmaker. I reside in Lagos, and I'm happy to be on the podcast. Thanks for reaching out via Twitter, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, and that's it's an honor for us. Like, you're like such a huge influence and being so young and doing so much already. It's like it's crazy that we're connected as right now, like, because I mean the impression that you gave us is like you're a huge filmmaker and a movie director, but at the same time so accessible, right? And you should have so many more followers than the ones that you have right now. Like, you on social media should reflect also your social media, and we're talking we will speaking about how that image of the filmmaker should affect you as well, like the difference between making movies in the continent and making movies in Brazil or in United States, Canada, and all this stuff. But the interesting thing that you said about living in a plateau, that it's like the mental image that people got from Africa, like it's hot or it's desert like everywhere, because that's what is shown on TV. I have frequent arguments with my friends because I don't like heat. I like when it's cold, because I like puffy jackets and hoods and jackets and all this the stuff. I think it's more fashionable than, I don't know, shorts.
I always tell people I enjoy the winter because I get to wear my trench coat. I love wearing my overcoat. I love wearing my Doc Marten boots. I just like being dressed in all black. In black jacket, black pants. I love winter because of the fashion. That's not even because I enjoy cold, but because I love the fashion of coats and all that stuff. But yeah.
Coat with the purple neck and a gold chain. That's too flat.
Yeah, I'm not big on jewelry. I'm very minimalist, no jewelry. But yeah,
I like I don't like jewelry.
Yeah,
I'm like one gold chain and that's all I need.
As far as
don't need to be a huge one.
Yeah.
Just a tiny one, just to make a gold line on your chest.
Yeah.
Around the neck. Just to reflect the light.
Yeah.
You know? That for me that's game. Like, and what's the most overrated thing that you saw, or the what's overrated to you, for you?
Man, I have a catalog of overrated things. First of all, I think superhero movies are overrated, especially over the past couple of years. I stand behind what Martin Scorsese said about superhero movies being not necessarily being cinema, but, well, the cinema we know of or we grew up on, and it being kind of like a theme park ride. I think that's overrated. I also think, what else do I think is overrated? Nigerians going to Dubai for holiday, that's overrated. Nigerians going to Dubai or London is overrated. There's so many places on the continent to explore. The thing is, a lot of people don't know this, but a lot of upper class Nigerians who have access to wealth often, when they have money, they send their kids abroad. In fact, most of their kids are born abroad, so they have dual passports. So they spend the entire life traveling, shuffling between Nigeria, United Kingdom, Nigeria, US, and most recently Dubai. But they never go anywhere. Most of them have never been to northern Nigeria. Most of them have never been anywhere besides shuffling between Lagos and London or Europe or whatever, Meanwhile, there are other parts of Africa. I mean, Ghana next door, a lot of them haven't even been to Ghana, not been to Benin Republic. A lot of them haven't been to South Africa. I haven't been to South Africa either. A lot of them haven't been to East Africa. A lot of them haven't been to North Africa. Haven't been to, and I could easily fall into that category. Not that my parents are wealthy or anything, but they made enough money to send me abroad to study. But I don't have dual citizenship. I'm a Nigerian. My passport is green. But I started exploring the continent when I started working, and I started exploring Nigeria even when I started working as a filmmaker. I went to do documentaries, and now I've gone to Ghana. I've been to Benin Republic. I've been to Togo, and most recently I went to Tunisia, and I might be going to Mozambique in October. But my plan is to explore the continent much more. Like I want to go to Egypt. I want to go to Ethiopia. So I think is overrated when we tend to still go to these European countries, that we are not even welcomed in. Like the energy a lot of times when you go, you can tell that you're not being welcomed. Anytime I travel abroad, after a few couple of days, I just want to come back home, because I feel the only time I noticed I really enjoyed when I was abroad was when my friends were around, so it just seemed as if we were on a road trip. So that's overrated. Yeah.
Yeah, and comes back to diaspora, because on those in those countries we don't have a majority of black people. So when and it's crazy. Besides from England, where the slave trade that took many Nigerian people as well to North America, like to the South and New York and all the other states. They're not welcoming. Yeah, you definitely should come to Brazil. You'll be. It's like there's a huge immigrant population here where I live. I live downtown São Paulo.
Yeah.
So we have Haitians, we have Nigerians. That's a huge Nigerian community that was built for over the last 5 years over here, and it's crazy. Like we're seeing different types of black people over here, because we had like people from Ghana that came over the slave trade. Ghana, I think Angola was a huge one, and few people from Nigeria. But now we're having people from Haiti, which is my favorite. I don't know if you can have a favorite diaspora country, because like Haiti was the only one that
fought the French.
They fought the French, they fought the Englishmen, and they fought the Spanish, and beat them all. Like
with
at the height of their power. Yeah, they free themselves through gunpowder and machetes and all that stuff, and Europe is definitely making them pay the price for it. Even today, like it's crazy. Yeah. We can never forget that the Europe is making them pay, and we should help them as the best that we can. But they're like my favorite country because of this. And you should definitely come to Brazil. And it's crazy, as you said. I'm kind of agree with Scorsese in this one, because I think it's easy to make a superhero movie right now. Yeah. Like the IPs are huge, so you have you should like if you're making a Marvel movie, like you can make a mediocre movie, and it will sell.
Yeah, absolutely. You will sell based on the marketing budget and these visual effects, which people go primarily not because it's character driven or because of the storyline or any of that. It's because they go in, they want to see some huge explosion. They want to see some crazy fight sequences, and it's like an adrenaline rush. So, which is why I kind of liken it to an amusement park. It's going like on a theme ride. There's nothing wrong with that. Who knows? You can say it's a new form of cinema or whatever. But when it comes to the cinema that I grew up on, where it comes to stories about people that you can relate to, scenarios or characters that you are so vivid, they come alive, even on and off screen. I don't see that in any of the superhero franchises. Everything is just very formula based, So that's But who am I to say,
Yeah, I don't agree with Scorsese as well, because he makes the same movie over and over again. But that's another conversation, right? But I believe that the studios, they every time of superhero movies made, an indie movie dies, because the budgets for those movies, it needs to be huge. And even when you try to mask a movie, I'm put a real movie. I'm doing flying bunnies with my fingers right now. But like Joker, you see that it is not the movie that people want to see. Like, everybody got ripped off on that one, and it's Oscar nominated and won Golden Globes and SAG Awards and all this stuff, but everybody got ripped off because it wasn't Joker, and it wasn't an outro movie, a movie that the director made with the intent of being original movie. Like, let me put this guy in this universe with all the things that like, let me make a King of Comedy in Gotham. That was the movie.
Yeah. Which was great.
I don't know. I thought it was mediocre, because it's like what is the Michael Douglas movie that he went crazy? Like, it's a 80s movie. Yeah, it's like that, but it's not discussing the issue. For me, that is a mediocre white dude having a crisis because society isn't fair.
Yeah.
I was at the movies like, man, this dude, he wouldn't survive a week being black. Like,
yeah, of course.
If Gotham is unfair, try Brazil, dude. Try Brazil.
True. I mean, I tell everybody in Lagos, everybody is the Joker. It's like we are all fucking crazy. Everybody is down on their last luck. If you spend a day in Lagos, I don't care who you are, no matter how rich you are, you will feel the impact of a society that is not all together, that is constantly at the brink of, you don't know whether the next day it's going to be a full-on riot, or you might be driving in traffic and then a tanker with fuel crashes on top of you. That happens so common in Lagos. Or it's a motorcycle transport ban, and then all the lower class blue collar people are now get displaced, because they're building a mega city, So everybody is angry, everybody is upset, everybody is dealing with some kind of psychosis, in Nigeria, whether you like it or not, but be it depression or anxiety or even being manic, I think everybody on some level has it. But the beauty about what I enjoyed specifically about Joker is because I love homage filmmaking. I was born in 1982. Therefore, I came of age in the early 90s. And this was also around the same time Tarantino had become a popular filmmaker. Therefore, and he, to me, epitomizes homage filmmaking. And every Tarantino film is an homage film, whether he's taking from Lady Snowblood or he's taking from spaghetti western or an Italian war film. It's just each scene, each character, it's just a collection of homages. And I really enjoy that, just being a cinema person, And it was nice to see an homage film on that level, because like you said, Joker was king of comedy in Gotham, but I also see Clockwork Orange in there. I also see Sidney Lumet's Network. I also see Taxi Driver. In fact, I think it's more Taxi Driver than anything. It's just this time Travis Bickle is a failed comedian. But there's so many references from Taxi Driver, and I just enjoyed that. I enjoyed because even the 70s, that era was also, I think, also the birth of homage filmmaking, because they were copying what French New Wave were doing. They were bringing all those styles and influences from abroad to America, and people in America hadn't seen that in films. So that's why I like the Joker. I get that it's kind of a derivative film, and the character is, there's no really that much justification for. I mean, not that there's the justification is kind of weak, but I still enjoyed it. I've seen it 3 times. I saw it twice in the cinema, and I saw it. I watched it again on I think Blu-ray or so. Yeah.
Yeah, but I have a phrase that I use with my wife and my friends.
Yeah.
That is like good cinema, bad movie.
Yeah.
And Joker is that for me. It's good cinema because it's well shot.
Yeah.
But it's a bad movie because the story isn't as cohesive and isn't as interesting as I think it could be.
Yeah.
And Zazie Beetz was wasted on the movie. Like,
absolutely,
you wasted her, making her Fight Club person.
Yeah.
The reveal that she wasn't real. Man, she could do so much for the movie and for the Arthur character, but they chose to make it all about I don't know. I forget it. I watched Bad Boys for Life this week.
Yeah,
it's a 4 out of 10, but it's a good thing because it's a popcorn movie, and I should we should get high expectations on a action flick that wasn't even directed by Michael Bay. He had a cameo, but it's like a funny movie. You should watch it with your aunties and your grandma and your mother, and have a great time. And I don't know, move and tweet, use the second screen, and sleep halfway the movie. And while you browse channel browsing, you get the movie at the middle part, and you understand everything. It was a good movie, and it's making money. And I like it when it was shot on the Tyler Perry Studios. With that's the important part for me. But I think my favorite film of the last year was The Last Black Man in San Francisco.
Oh, you see, The Last Black Man in San Francisco, for me, it looked cool, but it was boring. I think it didn't hold up. It felt like a black person was trying to make a Wes Anderson film. That's what I got from The Black Man in San Francisco. it just didn't hold up for me. I thought it was just cool. I thought it was, hey, look at these black weird people. It was nice to see black people like myself who are not stereotypical on screen doing what they did. That's what I enjoyed about it. But no memorable moments. Nothing held up for me. It was just a cool film. That's how I felt about The Black Man in San Francisco. Unfortunately.
Man, Us was a good one for me as well. Like,
Yeah.
I really like the way Jordan Peele changed his style for storytelling in this one, and not as many people like it because they wanted Get Out too, the Electric Boogaloo, but it wasn't a whole different movie, and that for me what it sells the movie. It's like you can if you pay enough attention, you can see the thing that did it for me is like the name of the boat is Crawdaddy, and and he's crawling all over the movie after we saw the boat's name.
Yeah.
And all the tiny references like the white family. Oh, this is our nest last night here. Indeed. After he says it, they're dead. They're gone. And this scraps of information that pay off in the future, I live for those.
Yeah, but you said Black Man. You said the film was it was different from Get Out. Was it directed by Jordan Peele? I didn't think it was.
No, not the Black Man. The difference between Us and Get Out.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because I think Get Out is way more straightforward with this horror.
Yeah.
Us and it was a whole different experience for us watching here in Brazil, because when we saw Get Out on the cinema,
Yeah.
we had we always organize this. Let's go. Let's bring all black people and go to the movies together to make a safer place and a better experience.
Yeah.
So we had half of the cinema was black people. It was us, and then it was crazy because they got scared when white people were in danger, and they left. They left on the wrong places. Like,
wow.
And when Daniel Kaluuya started fleeing the mansion, the Hermitage mansion, we're like, victory lap, we're celebrating. Yeah, put them down.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Run, black man, get your freedom. And they were like, oh, the cops didn't show you, huh? Okay. So he gonna be scot free on this one? I mean, he killed a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
And it was crazy. It was a crazy divide because it's obvious that I don't know. It's obvious that him being arrested wasn't the right call.
Yeah.
But they couldn't see past that. You know, it was crazy, and we're derailing as fuck. But let me take it back and ask you what is the most underrated thing right now for you?
Well, I think the most underrated thing right now is Surreal 16, the collective I belong to, especially in the context of Nollywood and Nigerian films. We have, and for those who are not aware, Surreal 16 is a collective that myself, a filmmaker called Mike Omonua and CJ Obasi come together to make this a Real 16 collective, which was formed in 2016. And we founded this group just based off the fact that we liked each other's work. We felt that nobody was really doing the type of things we are doing, So within the space of Nigerian media or Nigerian films or whatever, you had what we call the Asaba Nollywood, which is like the super low budget Nollywood films that are known for notoriously being shabby and overacted and slapstick. There's that where you can find anywhere you go on YouTube and type Nollywood, it's probably going to be an Asaba Nollywood. But then you also have the new Nollywood films where have a huge production budget, well, relative to what we are spending, does a cinematic release, makes good money. The production values are somewhat decent, but there's almost a mimicry of Hollywood, so to speak, whether it's Hollywood comedies or Hollywood dramas. It's almost a replication of that. A lot of the actors speak in foreign accents. It tries to consciously or unconsciously sanitize Nigeria and make Nigeria look a certain way. All the beautiful houses are shot. You hardly see the reality of poverty on screen. It's good-looking people. It's that glossy stuff, and that in itself is important because, again, it's nice to see black people in all their glory. But when it becomes a singular narrative, it becomes this one thing that we're known for. And it bothers me, especially when we try to export that to represent us as an entirety. It's now sending a signal that, look, we are, it's almost as if we're trying to be white, so to speak, trying to show white people that, look, we also wear wigs like you people, and we speak like you, and we live in fancy houses, as opposed to what we are doing, which is just cinema as a true speaking, not even just, we speak our truth. We show the world the way it is, most of our actors, their dialect is in Pidgin or in Igbo, or most of the characters come from lower class backgrounds. The way we shoot, the cinematography, the framing, you definitely see elements of other cinematic movements in our work. And I mean, to be honest, we are also kind of obviously influenced by European cinema and whatnot. But I guess what distinguishes us is that unique voice, which can't be duplicated. When you watch a Mike Goken film, within the first 5 minutes, it's a Mike Goken film. When you watch a CJ Obasi film, you definitely know it's a CJ Obasi film. And I guess, and all of us have kind of, the crazy thing is none of us have distributed a film locally in the cinema in Nigeria because our films aren't commercially viable. Therefore, we end up becoming or being labeled as festival filmmakers. And we get distribution outside the country. Like with my first screen film, Green, White, Green, obviously was able to get on Netflix, and subsequently it was acquired by Canal Plus, and we also put it on some airlines. but then it also went to all these festivals and whatnot. So I think that's I think what we're doing, which is the reason why you and I are here talking, is because of the work I'm doing, and the work my collective is doing, and we're actually in the midst of shooting our first feature-length film, which is an anthology film called Juju Stories, and it's about. I'm sure you're Brazilian, so you'll be familiar with Juju or Voodoo.
Yeah. We over here in Brazil, the Yoruba culture came. It did well what it came, and we have our religions based on it's like
Orisha.
Strong influence. Yeah, in Orisha is. I'm from Candomblé, which is a part of the Yoruba religions here at the Americas. I think Voodoo is more popular in the Caribbean islands and the South U.S. like.
Like in Miami.
Like Florida and Georgia.
Yeah. Well, here juju in Nigeria has just been it's become almost a generic term to just describe the supernatural. If somebody is deemed as a witch or seen in some sort of supernatural light way, people say, oh, you they do juju, or this person is doing juju. So there are different stories and myths surrounding juju in Nigeria and West Africa, and we decided to do juju stories. So each filmmaker is going to focus on a common juju myth or tale,
it's crazy. So juju is like the Nigerian word for macumba, which here it has its own meaning, but for regular people it's like macumba is ancestral magic. It's like African magic. It's macumba. The word is macumba.
Yeah. Interesting, macumba.
Yeah, macumba. It's crazy. And about the collective, it's just a collective of nerdy kids that try to make original movies with original flavor, showing what's really happening on the city, on the country, and we need more of those. And on the age of superheroes, like they're the new Western, and we need more different voices and different perspectives.
Absolutely.
Of course, we need position ourselves as kings and queens.
Mm-hmm.
That is man important, and especially for us here at the diasporic countries, because we need to have access to all this greatness and the legacy that was built, even with the colonization of the African countries. We need to see that the resistance, that tradition, it makes us proud of who we are as people, and even though we arrive here against our will, and they're trying really, really hard to erase our history, to erase us by cultural indoctrination or murder. We're still here. Like I'm initiated on a religion that speaks Yoruba, and I never been to any of the African countries at all. I'm not fluent in Yoruba. I'm trying to be. I'm studying it's hard because it's not Latin based like English.
Yeah.
So it isn't easy. You have to and have so many different rules.
Yeah.
But I think it makes sense because we're black people. We're accustomed to trade between ourselves, and we have multiple languages. Like
Exactly.
people are people from the continent. Some of them like my sister's boyfriend. He speaks like 4 or 5 languages. I
Yeah.
think that is our natural state, like being able
Exactly.
to communicate between ourselves, speak 4 or 5 languages.
And that's what Nigeria is, because you have to understand Nigeria is so diverse. There are over 350 ethnic groups. In Plateau State, there are about 50 tribes. Therefore, and each tribe would probably have their own language. Like so, and I live
And
in
that's
Lagos.
like multiple countries inside this fake country because it was created by the Englishmen or
English, yeah.
and and without this sensitivity, I think Africa it's geographically different that the world map show us, and
Yeah.
that's the crazy part, and that's what I try to say that I try to say to people who, oh, I'm watching this African thing. Okay, but what country? And what is? I don't like calling tribes because I think they associate us with savagery
Yeah.
and not as evolved as the other countries. So I call them nations, even though, but the nation has its own language and its own culture. It don't need to have
Yeah.
a proper currency.
Yeah, I
Just
mean, I'm all about calling them tribes. I don't care what people think, whether we're savages or not.
yeah, but
That's
for me, and it is, I associate tribe with savagery,
yeah,
so I don't use that word. For me, it doesn't make sense for me personally. But people say what they, I don't know. People do what they do, and
yeah,
that's. But and I think it sounds cooler when you say, oh, I'm from the X nation, or I don't know, I'm from the JJ nation. No, I'm with the Bantus and or not. Does that make sense for you?
yeah. I get where you're coming from. Yeah, I do. Um, but again, we're still working within the confines of European language. The word nation is still a European word. And it it doesn't matter how we twist and turn these words, as far as we understand who we truly are, it doesn't matter what label, whether you call it nation or tribe, they
Yeah.
they will still look at you as a racist will still look at you as a savage or a primitive, and that's
Yeah.
okay. If that's what you want to see, that is what you want to see. But people need to understand that our continent is so super diverse that we've always existed in spaces where you have a very advanced civilization, like the Benin Empire, and then simultaneously you could have a tribe like Pygmies or whatnot, or just another quote unquote primitive tribe coexisting together simultaneously. But that speaks of how super diverse it is, And so I have no insecurity on my part as to how we're labeled or perceived. I mean, it didn't happen overnight. I remember when I studied in America for a very long time, I was very ashamed of my Nigerian accent, and I would try to mask it. But at some point, a moment of self-realization, you're like, you know what, this is who you are. I wouldn't exchange my culture for anything else, and I mean, first of all, beyond anything, I'm a human being like anybody else, and that's where it stands, and that's where that should be the first. Everything else is just a social construct. Calling me African or whatever, these are just terms we've all used to kind of describe each other. But when you look at the core of someone, everyone's still human, so to speak. Races can interbreed amongst each other and still give birth to children that don't have 10 heads or turn out to be monsters, So if we were savages or subhumans or whatever, that wouldn't be the case. But anyways, that's a whole nother. In fact, funny enough, I'm working on a film that deals with racial identity and white supremacy. I've been working on the script for a while, and that should be interesting to shoot. But yeah.
Yeah, and it's crazy to see when we spoke about the other English speaking interviews that we had here at Lado Negro, and it's a different perception of race and identity for you guys who are not diasporic, who are raised in the continent, because the difference is like we have to fight for our ancestral identity. Like I don't even know exactly where I came from. I have I'm modest. I have an idea.
Yeah.
But I don't know for sure that like it's this country, is this nation, is this tribe, is this group of people that kind of look like me, that have those exact traditions, and over here we're trying to fight for the right to be ourselves, to be at the street and use our natural hair, and it's a huge fight that came with we have to deal with lots of insecurities. For example, I have 28. I was born in 91, and I'm blessed to I'm blessed because my parents and my extended family always thought that we were beautiful the way we were, even with all the studies and the political alliance. We protected our self-esteem in a way that we were able to navigate safely, even through racism, and not be as scarred as people I know, because we had a all black family and we were proud of that. But here it's crazy. It's mad. People are discovering their beauty 22 years later, 25, maybe 30 years later, and that's crazy.
Yeah,
it's so outdated. Like they are out of touch with reality. Like people aren't perceiving themselves as valuable human beings.
Yeah,
they always and you can spot the difference between diasporic people from the diaspora, black people from the diaspora, and African people. like the way they walk on the street, like with the head down and a frown face, and people who didn't have this issue, that this virus and this disease that was put on them because of racism, they walk freely, they walk confidently, they have something that makes them pop, like even it's crazy. You can see like the way they speak, they move, their body is different. It's crazy.
But that issue is cut across not just even, I mean, in diaspora I even get it, but even on the continent, if you see the impact of colonialism, because here's the thing: a lot of black people from diaspora, you see an African who migrates or who's visiting, and you quote unquote say, "Oh, he's confident. He knows where he's from." That still just makes a very small portion of Africans from the continent who are self-aware. A lot of black people here still identify as inferior. Colorism is still a big deal. It's normal for people to look at you here and say, "Why are you so dark?" And you have relatives who advise you to bleach. And they will say, "Yeah, just tone a bit, you're too dark." Or when a woman has natural hair, they were like, "Why is your hair messed up like that?" This is on the continent. And these are people who, you still have people who see white people, not even white, even Lebanese people to Indian people, and they call them master, Like the impact of colonialism is still, even in the way we design our architecture. When you build your house, there's always a space behind the house where you build for your domestic staff, people who work for you. We call it boys' quarters, a boys' quarters. We call that till today boys' quarters. And it's called boys' quarters because that's what the colonials used to call it, because they felt no matter how grown a man you are, as long as you work for a master, you're a boy. So they called it the quarter for the boys' quarters. But till today, it was like, "Oh, where's this person? He's at the boys' quarters." It's become part of our vocabulary, and people just think it's an innocuous word, having no idea that it's the impact of colonialism, So this idea of self-hate is so prevalent, It's not up until now that black people, even on the continent, have started embracing, and I attribute that to pop culture and to music and to people like Beyonce and Jay-Z. Even though people will argue that, they have their own capitalist agenda, it's all about, but still, there's still a certain messaging, there's still a certain propaganda that is being put out there that it's okay to look this way, it's okay to be curvaceous, it's okay to be dark-skinned, it's okay to carry your natural hair a certain way. That wasn't prevalent at all, Like for a very long time, the whole idea is to be Eurocentric, even on an unconscious level, Even the most educated people felt, there must be this Eurocentric mindset to move up in the world or to be taken serious. And it still gets even the most educated of us, So it's something that I know it can never compare to what blacks or Africans in diaspora experience, because there's nothing more worse than not having a sense of true identity, where you come from, But there are the degrees of colonialism, impact of colonialism on black people is stretched across the board. And it saddens me that we are here. What's our own excuse for thinking this way? Fela said it that, if you go to South Africa, there are whites killing blacks. There's a word for that. It's racism. But how about black people killing black people in the thousands in Nigeria. What's our excuse? What's our excuse for that?
I think there's this racism too, but it's not like black people are being racist to black people. It's racism driven because that thought, that feeling that being black is inappropriate, it was planted. Of course, we have violence between ourselves because we're people, and that's what people do. But on this scale, with this kind of disrespect for our bodies and for our history, it was taught like people don't act this way on their own.
Oh no, absolutely, I completely.
Yeah, that's the image that I try to print on my head every time, and that's the explanation that I do that I make that I give to people when they ask, oh, what about black on black crime and what about white on white crime? They do it. Violence it's universal. It's human. We're not perfect. No, we're getting there, but we're not perfect. With the closest ones, but we're not. and that's difficult. And we're kind of look up to you guys because of all the history, and you guys are the ones who escaped in a certain way, but you had to do it a whole nother level over there.
Yeah.
And I think we're all doing a great job, and because our influence is spread across the world, everybody knows what not everybody, but they have an idea what we were capable of on just this call. Like we're a notion apart, and I know your work like that's crazy. Even for 10 years ago, it wouldn't be unimaginable. Like we know of things now because of this mastery and this excellence that we deliver all over the world. People look up to Beyonce, to LeBron James, to Barack Obama, to Madiba.
Rest in peace, Kobe.
Yeah, Kobe, Dr. Sebi. People look up to us, and we have so many breakthroughs that benefit society, and we don't have the benefit of a future hindsight to see the impact of black culture over 1,000 years.
Yeah, but we can see what we've done over the short period. Just even think of hip hop music alone. It's immense. The level
hip hop, rock and roll, blues,
jazz, almost even art. Even whether it's abstract art or whatever kind of art form. Most of it came from the continent. Abstract Picasso's abstracts were all informed by African masks. People don't know that. When the Europeans came and they saw the Benin bronze mask, and they actually they were so intrigued by the detail of the bronze mask. They felt they didn't believe it was made by Africans. They felt that Europeans had come earlier and had used their own technology to make this mask. But they were just so intrigued by the level of detailing, they said it was as good as anything made during the Italian Renaissance. So, I mean, our impact is unmatched, and this is just the beginning. I'm quite curious to see what happens next. Most important. I'm just proud to be a participant in. I hate saying this word, but changing the narrative or changing the mentality or the ideology or just changing what it means to be an African, on a global scale,
Yeah, and that's I don't know. We really need to see, like 100 years from now, how people it's gonna see the Carters run, like Beyonce and Jay-Z's run. And even though he's kind of tripping right now with like Kanye West influence on the arts, Virgil Abloh, and you guys, and like everything, even from North America to South America to black people in Asia and black people in Europe, like Idris Elba is doing an amazing job, and we're everywhere, and we're doing everything. That's the crazy part. And like maybe 300 years from now, we'll be able to see less racism. I don't believe it will end soon. Like I believe we'll have it for 500 plus years, but it'll be died down to a minor inconvenience at the point, I hope. But that's the thing. We're derailing so much, and I'm taking so much of your time. But we have the last question.
Okay.
That it is, put us on to something, teach us something, like something that everybody should know.
What I don't know, man. What do I do? I don't know much. That's the thing. What can I put your audience on?
Man, it could be anything like, oh, try and mix cheese with your ramen. It could be as silly as that, but it will try to try to read a book from people that doesn't look like you at all, or people.
Yeah. No, I got you. I got you. Let's see.
Yeah, you can give a filmmaker tips and tricks, like, oh, in low light use this kind of lens, or try to reflect. Yeah. I think that's more really.
Nah, because I'm not even like, as far as filmmaking is concerned, I'm not. I never regard myself like as a technical filmmaker, so to speak. I always even feel like I'm like a storyteller that just uses film as a medium, and then I work with people who are proficient. But I mean, I'm put on the spot now, so I don't know. Well, can we curse on the podcast?
Yeah.
Can I
threw lots of F-bombs over this conversation. Go crazy.
All right. So I'm from Plateau State, and Plateau is in the northern hemisphere / middle belt of Nigeria. Therefore, majority of us speak Hausa language. Now, Hausa is a majority tribe from northern Nigeria, which during they were colonized by the Ottoman Empire, during the Islamic Revolution. So a lot of the northern Nigeria it gives almost a vibe of the Arab world. People dress like that. People speak Arabic, but then the language Hausa is now. It was like the first original trade language for the north of the north before English. So a lot of northern Nigerians speak Hausa. I speak Hausa fluently, and I come to realize that Hausa is it's a beautiful sounding. Language sounds beautiful. Everybody in Nigeria who's not Hausa, anytime they hear Hausa, the first thing they say is, "Oh my God, it sounds beautiful." But Hausa is also for me, is one of the most vulgar languages on the planet, because people use this vulgarity so casually in conversations. Like the same way people can say "holy shit" in America or in any part of the world as an exclamation, exclamation. You exclaim "holy shit." Hausa has far worse exclamations. Sorry.
Yeah, that's a hard.
Yeah, we have far more words, vulgar words we use to kind of express surprise. A common one is buroba. So you say buroba when you're surprised, like buroba, but buroba literally translates to. Are you ready for it?
Yeah.
Your father's dick. But it says
buroba.
Buroba. Yes. Buroba, yeah. But it says so casually that people have forgotten the true translation. It's like, I'll just tell you now, "Yo, Augusto, I just got into Cannes," and you'll be like, "Oh, buroba," like, "Oh shit," but you're saying, "Oh, my dad's dick," or your dad's dick. It's crazy. And there's so many other words like that in Hausa that are literally translated to something very dirty and vulgar, but it's used so casually. And I remember when I was younger, my mom, I think she caught me saying "fuck you" or something like that, and I was like, if you guys are criticizing me for saying "fuck you," but when you guys speak Hausa all the time, you guys say "duruwa," which is mother's pussy. You say "buroba." You use all these profanity, but because it's Hausa and nobody is actually asking what this really means, it's lost its meaning. But yeah, that's one thing.
It's like a English speaking music for Brazilians. People like a 10-year-old listening to Uzi Vert and XXXTentacion and I don't know. Even there's even a video of a baby like listening to "Hypnotized" by Biggie, and she's crying. That's crazy because I don't know. Biggie is talking about women fucking and sucking him.
Yeah.
And how the way that he kills people, and the kids like, "Yeah, hey Biggie." Ooh.
Yeah.
And here in Brazil, our buroba, it would be caralho. Caralho, which means dick, and it's used as an exclamation and as a comma and as a period.
Yeah.
And we use foda as an exclamation.
Yeah.
As well. Foda means fuck.
Yeah.
Or to fuck. And I think we use a porra as well,
Yeah.
but porra is way, 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 way popular in Bahia, which is the blackest city in the world outside Africa.
Yeah.
And porra means semen.
Oh my God. Semen in Hausa means money.
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 Money. That's crazy. And I don't know. We bended those words in order to use a certain way. Like only black people, man. Like CP time and all the other creative stuff that we do. Only black people, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So say something in just so our audience can testify how beautiful that language is.
Well, I'm gonna say something in Hausa, and I'm also gonna say something in Pidgin. Pidgin for me is my favorite language, and it's I think because it's almost as if wherever we go, despite being displaced or being, we always seem to find one language that we can all communicate with. Whether it's the way African Americans speak or Jamaicans doing patois, or Nigerians being pidgin. Pidgin is spoken across the country, whether you go to Jos, Kano, everybody speaks pidgin. So I just want to make all my Brazilian brothers and sisters know say they feel them gong, they speak pidgin right now. So pidgin, you go just they mix them, you go they mix all the languages where they for Nigeria, and it don't become this kind of hybrid language. So I want shout out to all my brothers and sisters where they Brazil, man, with the whole una down. I go soon come visit una, and make I switch them now from pidgin to Hausa. Make una no vex. Yang wani na da kuna Brazil ina son ku sosai, kuma ina tambayan Allah ya kawo ni in zo in ganku mu my house sucks. Like
it was crazy. The pigeon and sounds way cooler than North American and I don't know. Regular doesn't exist. It's a concept, but the English that we listen all day. But pigeon and papa, they sound way cooler than the English I'm speaking right now.
Yeah, pidgin is so dope because and my friends are always like, why do I like speaking pidgin so much? Because usually people who are educated do not speak pidgin, so to speak, in their daily lives. But I like speak. And I think it's because I went to a school which is predominantly Igbo in Jos, and Igbo people speak pidgin a lot. So that kind of bewitched me. And I just feel it's as valid as any other language. It's a form of communication that has come about organically, and it holds its own. And I think pidgin is being taught in some schools now, if I'm not mistaken. But I write my scripts now in pidgin, and I'll also translate. Like we just did a table read the other day, and it was all in pidgin. And anytime I write in pidgin, whenever the dialogue is being said, like it just sounds so much more poetic. It sounds like, I hate it when I've noticed that anytime my actors speak English, there's something about speaking English on film, Nigerian film, that just makes it automatically turns it into almost like a soap opera or something. I don't know. It just becomes less artistic and cinematic for me. But anyways, let me.
I think it because it's pidgin and patois. They have a rhythm, a cadence.
Yeah,
to the sentences, and they have and they have key. we speak in key, like we have tones that you gotta put out of your mouth in order to make sense and in order to sound properly sound. And I don't know, like North American English. I don't like. I don't say American because the Americans is huge and North America is the only North, and I think maybe 2 or 3 countries on the Caribbean that speak English. So it's not an American English like North America. They don't have that, and the people from Atlanta and from North and South Carolina, they have that, but they consider this code switching. So if you're talking with your black friends, then you're allowed to sound different, to put cadence, to put rhythm, to put melody in your English, and even with Portuguese, we have this kind of second Portuguese that we only use when we're at our houses or with people we trust. And the beauty of Pidgin and Patois and other languages is that rhythm, is that flow, and that melody that comes with it.
Yeah, I completely agree. I agree.
And it has a sincerity, just like even though we're cursing a lot and we're saying things like porra and caralho, it makes it's the right word to express the feeling. The words come the word is perfect to the feeling that you're trying to externalize. And sometimes Portuguese won't do the job, English won't do the job, and you have to use certain words.
Absolutely.
That's the greatness of being able to speak multiple languages. We just had a podcast with a English school we have here in Brazil. They're focused on black culture and black people. It's a black owned business. It's called Ebony English. And we spoke about how culture influence how language is culture as well. So when you're trying to learn a language, you have to learn the culture first. And when we're to speak English, we shouldn't only look up for North America, like United States, and we shouldn't just look for United States or England. We should look at everywhere. We should look to Nigeria. We should look to Jamaica. We should look all over, and we should look for people who look like us, because I believe that's the first connection that you do out of the plane everywhere. And the people that are most likely to help you is the people that look like you. So if you talk like one of us, it will be easier for us to connect.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree.
Man, do you wanna plug something? I know that you're sleepy and it's only 9 a.m. here in Brazil, but
I'm wide awake. I'm gonna, as soon as I get off this call, I'm gonna shower and I'm gonna head out. I have a few things to do. But what would I like to plug? Obviously, my new film, The Lost Okoroshi, is still doing its festival tour right now. We're going to Berlin in a couple of days. On the 21st, 22nd, I'll be in Berlin for the Berlin Critics Week, which runs concurrently with the Berlinale. And After that, we're going to announce our North American premiere. Actually, no, we already premiered at TIFF, Toronto, but our US premiere, we're going to announce that soon. And as soon as we get distribution, because the film has not been released globally, we're still doing the festival tour, and I would love to share that with you guys. And follow me at Abba T Makama on Instagram and Twitter. Those are my handles. And love and light, and it would be amazing to come to Brazil.
Brazil needs it, like another perspective on filmmaking, and one that is brought for our home, our ancestral home.
Yeah,
I think it makes sense for us right now with this shitty climate that we're in. We need another point of view, other stories, different stories, and we cannot wait until 2021 in order to see Black people in the movies again. 2021 is Black Panther 2 release.
Yep.
But we've been waiting. Like Black Panther came out in 2018. Is that it? Yeah, 2018. Yeah. And we didn't have anything, like literally anything. Only this big. We're having Bad Boys for Life right now, which is doing great at the box office. I think they just broke through $250 million yesterday. That's good numbers, because it's a it's a $50 million movie, so it broke even and made some money.
Yeah,
and but we need more Black faces and with original stories, like new IPs and original movies, no IPs involved.
Yep.
At all. And I believe, and we're here, we at Lado Negro believe that is the way to go. We're doing another podcast about Nollywood in general. Like from indie movies to the I don't know, like the major ones, the ones that run cinema at Nigeria and here in Brazil, the ones that are more visible.
Yeah.
But we also need this original take, this flavor of indie. We need nerdy kids doing nerdy stuff in order to be a scene, like not only Black Panther, which is white man's idea originally.
Yeah.
We need our own stuff, like from the womb to the silver screen, and
absolutely,
and that's it. And thank you for your time, and thank you for your patience.
It was a pleasure and honor.
It was an honor, and I hope I see you soon. We're trying really hard to make this happen, and it will happen.
No doubt.
So I'm gonna switch back to Portuguese in order to
sign out. All right.
Yeah. Então, rapaziada, foi aí. Conversamos maravilhosamente com a Abba e foi muito legal, porque ela é uma pessoa muito legal. E assistam os filmes, tá? Tem um filme até o presente momento disponível aí na Netflix, e o outro ele vai sair em breve. A gente está fazendo festival e tal, distribuindo o filme, tentando ver como ele vai lançar isso da melhor forma, e esperamos vê-lo em breve no Brasil, que é um sonho aí poder trocar com nossas pessoas que fazem filme. A Augusto Oliveira também fez um filme, né? O Mãe Não Chora. E esse é um momento muito interessante, né? Que a gente vê pessoas pretas fazendo cinema autoral, né? Que é muito importante. E é isso. Somos heróis de rosto africano e até a próxima. I'll say bye to everyone, Abba.
All right, goodbye, everyone. Pleasure.
And sometimes we have English speaking people. Like we had Oshun from United States.
Yeah.
And then we had No Weakness Paris. They're Cameroon.
Okay.
And they had a fashion brand. They went to Fashion Week Paris and they're trying to expand in their business to Brazil. So we spoke about how was for them their perspective living on a European country, not being from the diaspora, being African immigrants, and all that stuff. The difference between people from the diaspora like me and like my friends that had no choice but live in a colonized country. Yeah, I think that's a good point for us to start talking as well. Like, I don't know, you're really close to your roots. You have access to your family tree, like me. I can go to my great granddad and great grandmother for both sides, and that's the limit for me.
Yeah,
I don't even know where they came from though.
Yeah,
it's kind of crazy. Like,
yeah,
we don't know our families here. Like,
I
don't know if we came from Senegal, Angola, Nigeria.
Yeah, I think it's interesting you say that because there's always this argument where Africans or Nigerians specifically kind of get upset when African Americans generalize and say, when they say Africa, and they were like, well, Africa is a continent, there's so many countries. And they're like, can you be more specific? It's like, we want to go to Africa. And I'm like, you guys need to understand, they don't know where they're from. They were taken away, so they don't know their ancestral roots. So everything is Africa to them, and rightfully so. So I think we on our part, we need to be a bit more sensitive, and much more accommodating and understanding to Africans in diaspora, especially those who are affected by colonialism and slavery. There needs to be that sensitivity, and I think that's why there has been so much interest in kind of the work I'm doing, or even on a larger scale with movies like Black Panther, and just this whole idea of this new Africa, and what's happening within the music space as well with artists like Wizkid or Davido, Afrobeats, so to speak.
Yeah, that gets like Afrobeat renaissance, because Fela Kuti had a huge movement that impacted Brazil, like on the 80s and 90s.
Yeah,
really hard, because people aren't accustomed to different sounds.
Yeah,
like here in Brazil, we're close to all the neighbor countries. They speak Spanish, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But we don't hear music in Spanish here. We jump straight for American music, like North American music.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like crazy, but between the English speaking people, we also have like some people from Portugal and Angola, but it's only if you really like music, you get access to those guys, and now here at my bubble because I'm a hip hop head. So we're trying to get to people like Sampa the Great, who's been doing an amazing job with her visuals and her music as well.
Mm-hmm.
So let me get to this intro. I think I'll use this because it was interesting as well.